Well, this might be a bit of a rant today because this morning I had a tender, really heartbreaking experience. I went to visit a furniture maker whose work I've been admiring from a distance for a while. He's an artisan, a man who works with wood with such care and reverence that you can feel it just by running your hand across what he's made. And as we talked, his initial reticence began to soften and he started to come alive, sharing that his real passion, his real joy is drawing, sketching live models, bringing people to life on the page. I could feel his energy rise as he spoke about it. And then he said to me, "So what do you do?" And I told him that I teach therapists, coaches, wellness practitioners how to help people feel truly better. And then he said something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "I went to a psychiatrist once." And I gently asked him, "Well, what was that like for you?" And he said, "I've had social anxiety all my life. And when I sat in that room, I felt like I wasn't even a human being. He just talked at me. I left feeling worse than when I went in." What a waste that was. So my heart broke again right then and there in that quiet country showroom because that story, I have heard it so many times over my 40 years as a therapist and a coach. I've heard it from clients. I've heard it from friends. I've heard it from family. I've heard it from colleagues. How did we get here? And how do we continue to sustain a field where a person can gather the courage to seek help, to sit down with a professional whose whole purpose is to support human well-being, and leave feeling less human, more disconnected, more unseen? That's why I do the work that I do. That's why Conscious EFT exists, because I know we can do better. At the heart of our work here at NeftTi is a simple, really profound truth. Before any technique, before any intervention, you must have capacity to meet another human being as a human being. I love the quote by Carl Jung. "Know all the theories, master all the techniques, but as you touch a human soul, be just another human soul." I got an email this week from a therapist I mentor. She shared that quote with me and then she said, "Nancy, this is what you've taught me how to do, and I am forever grateful." Because all the tapping, all the neuroscience, all the polyvagals, and all the other frameworks, they are powerful, but they belong in the background. In the foreground is your capacity to be present, to connect, to create moments of safety for both you and the other person where they can feel seen, heard, and honored as they are. But here's the challenge. Right? Most helping professionals are not taught how to do this. Oh yeah, they're told, do your own work. Self-care is important. But after 40 years in this field, I will tell you that most practitioners, A, don't know what that means, and B, don't do it in a way that transforms their capacity to be human with a human. And I've watched what happens when they try to do this work without capacity. I have seen the burnout. I have experienced the burnout. I've seen the light go out of their eyes as they see too many clients, do too much paperwork, run too hard, not charge enough money until there's nothing left to give. And when our nervous systems are overloaded, we can't meet someone else with presence. We simply don't have the capacity to be human with them. And that is heartbreaking for someone who went into this field in order to help people. So That's why I mentor practitioners the way I do. We always start with you, not with the tools, not with the techniques, but with the question, how are you being impacted as a human being by this work, by this client? What's getting activated for you? Where is this difficult for you? What is it touching in you? And so we spend time clearing and resourcing that so that you can sit with yourself in your truth, your authenticity first. We grow you first. And only then do we turn attention to your client and say, now, how can you sit with them this way to help them grow? Right? Because when we can sit with someone without rushing to fix them, without standing above them with solutions, without needing them to be any different than they are in this moment, right? That's when nervous systems settle. That's when safety enters the room. That's when healing becomes natural. Because connection is not an add-on. Connection is the intervention of choice every single